Hey everybody, hope you guys are having a great Thursday. Sorry we got started off a little bit late. As you can see, I'm in a different room, a different setup. So I'm here at the Innovation Center in Ozark High School. Super thankful that they allowed me to use their podcast room to do the podcast while I'm here in Missouri. As you guys don't know, if you saw the post, my older brother is retiring. Um, from being a superintendent here in Ozark after 5 years. He's done some great and amazing things here. So I was able to slide in and do the podcast for here. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We just had to kind of get used to the different software and stuff than what I'm used to using. So it took us a couple minutes to figure it out, but we got it figured out. So that's all that matters. I hope everybody's having a great Thursday. I'm going to get logged on to my Facebook page here real quick. As I said before, I'm here in Ozark, Missouri. I'm traveling down. We're gonna head back up to Kansas City probably tomorrow to my other brother's house and fly back home on Tuesday. So the mental health warrior will be back in Virginia. So super excited about that. But things have been a little crazy here. I hope everything's going well with everybody. And if you've been watching my mental health minutes, I'm going to dive into, what I've been talking about this week and the reason behind that. But, real quick, if you missed my podcast, just like always, you can catch it on Reads Across America Radio, and it's super easy to find it. You can download the iTunes app, the Odyssey app, or the iHeartRadio app. Just type in Reads for Reach Across America Radio, and you just click follow, and you can see all the great programming they have on there. But like I said, my podcast replays on Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So super happy about that. Super thankful for that. If you see the QR code right now up in the upper left corner, you can scan that. From there, you can go and donate to Reads Across America so we can ensure that, some of those soldiers out there that give all, we can ensure that there's a reef on their, on their memorial, during Christmas and special times of the year. So it's very important. It's a great program, and I'm very happy to be a part of Reads Across America. With that, the weather here in Ozark's been pretty great. It's not been too hot for Missouri. I was kind of surprised by that. It's not super humid. It was kind of nice. But I'm gonna upload the video. But my brother at his retirement, they were having a roast. Yeah, and so I got to roast my brother up on stage, and it was kind of fun to go up there and and talk about some stories about him and what he did. But I kept it pretty clean. I didn't trash talk him too much, just a little bit. Uh, but it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. I spoke for about 8 minutes. I'll get that video uploaded because I did had some pretty good zingers in there on him. But it's a lot of fun just to go and do that. And if you watch my mental health minutes this past couple of days, especially today's, I was talking about the meaning of words and how you say things or present certain words, how they can mean to other people. And sometimes you may say something and you don't mean it to mean that, but somebody takes it as that and they take offense to it or something like that. And I think it's sometimes, I had a hard time doing that, especially before I got my hearing aids because I would talk really loud and not realizing that I was talking so loud because I just couldn't hear. My hearing was terrible. I didn't realize it. But once I got the hearing aids, then I had to kind of learn to, it sounds kind of silly, but I had to learn how to kind of retalk because I realized how loud I was talking. And how it would affect, my kids and my wife would say, "Oh, why are you yelling at us? Why are you mad?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not mad. There's nothing going on." But it's just I had to relearn how to reflect my voice and bring down the octave some and just not realize it. I think that's one of the things since I got my hearing aids that really has helped with my mental health is just being able to understand what people were saying to me because I didn't realize how much of a conversation I was missing. And so if you're having that conversations with people and you're missing parts of it, if they're saying something, you see their mouth move and you don't understand it, I implore you, please go get your hearing checked. Something you should do yearly. I just had my last hearing test done not too long ago. It was normal. It hasn't changed any. So for me, that's a good thing. But I always explain to my kids, Lloyd, my youngest, asked me, says, "What does it sound like when you don't have your hearing aids in?" And so I just explained it to him like this, you just take your hands and press them really tight over your ears. That's what it sounds like to me when I don't have my hearing aids in. and it's, then you take him away and you can hear. I just kind of gave him a little bit of perspective about it. But and I've talked about this before. My hearing loss was quite substantial. Of course, that was being in Iraq for deployed and explosions there and stuff, but also being in aviation for 34 years, just a lot of high pitch frequency loss. But it's the voice tones that really threw me off. And that's what I lost when I was in Iraq. And so if you're a veteran out there, if you're a soldier serving or something, or if you're just somebody listening who's having those kind of ear issues, get your hearing check. It's pretty amazing. It was pretty life changing. One thing that I didn't realize, and they did this study, and hearing doctors posted about it the other day, is they found out that hearing loss can contribute to dementia in some people. And I thought that was very interesting. But also, I can kind of understand that as somebody who would get frustrated or upset when he couldn't hear certain things or certain words, right? So somebody would pronounce a word to me and I didn't hear it correctly. Well, I perceived that as being something different than what they were saying because I didn't hear them. And so my reaction was probably not what it should have been, but me not realizing it. And I think it's very important. I'm sorry, I just went on a tangent about hearing, but when you lose a sense, you really realize how important that sense is once you get it back. And there was for a lot of years I probably missed out on a lot of things and probably misinterpreted a lot of things. Um, but something just popped in my head here. I'm going to do a free for all podcast today. I said that on the advertisement, but we was driving over here. My mom lives in Republic. And we're staying at her house, and we drove over here to Ozark, which is about, I don't know, 15, 20 miles. And my mom wanted to have lunch at Freddy's. I've never eaten at Freddy's before. Didn't know anything about it. It's just a fast food chain. But I have to admit, it was a pretty dang good hamburger. I had the jalapeno hamburger, and the meat was really fresh. It was really good. I was actually shocked by that for never eating that before. My son Lloyd, he's kind of picky eater, actually ate the hamburger and liked it and the shake. So of course I like custard, so I'm a big custard guy. So, but it was really good. And so if you never tried Freddy's, and I always talk to us, go try something new this year. So if you never tried Freddy's, go out there and try Freddy's. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by it. I was just how fresh the hamburgers were and stuff. Whataburgers have gotten real big here in Missouri. I know there's a couple been built around here. I've never ate at Whataburger. I guess I'll have to try that to see and see how that goes. So, I always tell people try something new today. And so today my new thing was I went to Freddy's and had a hamburger. I didn't have fries. I just had the hamburger because I normally don't eat lunch because I do the fasting and then I eat my breakfast usually about noon and then I don't eat again until dinner time. But today my mom wanted to stop, so I thought, well, I'll try a hamburger. I never had it before. Really good hamburger. It's gonna be hard not to want to go back and get another one. So super excited about that. Of course, I've been eating Andy's frozen custard at night. Get a hot fudge chocolate one. But every now and then on vacation, it's okay to let go and kind of try something new and just kind of enjoy yourself. Kind of get the zen going on. I haven't done yoga yet since I've been in Missouri. I probably won't get back to yoga till I get back. So I just been doing some self yoga and stuff like that. But really, I just been taking a time out to, enjoy my family and to be around them. Because as you guys know, and I've talked about this, my life's changing quite a bit. The wife promoted to captain in the Navy, and she got orders to Naples, Italy. So this fall, we're actually moving to Naples, Italy. Actually, my family will go before me, and then I'll go in December. I have some speaking events and other contractual obligations I have to do prior to going. So super excited about that. So the Mental Health Warrior will be coming from you guys next year, probably January. It'll start be coming from Italy instead of America. So I'm kind of excited about that. Give me a whole nother group of people to get on the show and talk about it. It'll be interesting to get a whole different perspective about that. So I'm super excited that season 3 of Mental Health War is going to be international. And what a great opportunity it is for Veterans Trash Talk, for us, and for Reads Across America, to be able to go out to Italy and do my podcast from there. So I'm super excited about that. And kind of can't wait till that happens. So haven't started yet, but I will start learning Italian. My wife's already fluent in Italian, so I'll have to download the app. I guess the military's using a new app she signed me up for. And so it's similar to Rosetta Stone is what the Army used before. That's what I used to kind of learn Arabic when I was in Iraq. So I'll use that new program. I forget what it's called. I can look it up on my phone real quick. Because because I just downloaded it. Oh, Mango is what it's called. Is the new program I guess the Army is using or the Navy. She's Navy, so she went through the Navy and signed me up for it. So I'll start those lessons. My goal is to be fluent in Italian before I leave Italy. That's one thing that I always did when I traveled to foreign countries. I never not like not knowing what people were saying around me. Is anybody else like that? If it's super easy nowadays. Of course, when I was in Germany, it wasn't. I took German in college for a couple of years, but I always learned more when I was actually in the country. And I just didn't like being around when I couldn't understand. Not that I wanted to be fluent in it. I just kind of wanted to understand what people were saying around me. uh, I guess it's situational awareness. I guess we all get that. If you've been in the military for any short amount of time, you kind of want to know what's going on around you and people are saying, especially when you're in a different country. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I went to Germany, a couple years ago and hadn't been there for years. And the longer we were there, the more my German came back. So I was teasing my family last night that I was going to speak, Italians like "Buongiorno," and they kind of sing it, and I was gonna kind of put in a German accent to like "Hoot, hoot, hoot," and my wife told me that I shouldn't be doing that and that she wouldn't talk to me. So, but it's fun, it's great, it's exciting. But to go back to what I was talking about earlier on is words and the meanings that words can have. Especially if you have PTSD and you have issues already, people can say things that kind of trigger you. And I know that, we just had Memorial Day, not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. And for a lot of people, especially not in the military, they just by default say Happy Memorial Day. And for a lot of veterans, they're like, well, what the F's happy about it, right? I lost my buddy, I lost my friend, I lost my teammate or whatever. And so, but I think, for people who aren't in the military, didn't have family in the military, I don't, they don't mean anything mean by it. They just don't understand. And one thing that I've learned to do is kind of set my emotions aside and kind of explain to them that maybe that's not always the best way to approach Memorial Day, especially with veterans, and saying, "Hey, happy Memorial Day." Well, up yours. It's not so happy. But I think it's okay. I think, for a lot of people, I think their heart was in the right place by saying that. But I think if you just take the time and explain to them, why it's not necessarily okay to say happy, I think they'll understand it. And if they're a good friend of yours, I think they'll take your advice to heed it. But if you immediately start yelling at them, you're going to shut them down, right? We know that they're just going to shut down and not listen to what you're going to say. So, I think, it's really important, especially if you're struggling with mental health or PTSD to, because you're quick to jump, right? So if you're already in a bad way, something else happens or somebody says the right kind of word, it's going to set you off. I know that. That's how I was when I was having a really rough time with my post-traumatic stress syndrome. And, some days you have good days and some days you have bad. And that's something else I talked about on my mental health minute. I think it was on Tuesday I talked about this. No, Wednesday. Wednesday I talked about this. So go back and watch it on Wednesday. It's posted as a Real and Veterans Trash Talk on their Facebook page. Is we, you and I, and people listening can choose to have a good day or a bad day. You can choose whether the thoughts running in and out of your head are going to be good thoughts or bad thoughts. It's your choice. In reality, it's all your choice. I can wake up and be mad as hell at the world and throw things and whatever. But if I choose at that second, that instant, that I'm not going to allow that to happen and change my way of thinking, I can have a very happy day and a very healthy day. And so nobody can force you, really, your thoughts. They can't control your thoughts. You control your thoughts. You control what you're thinking about. We're all warriors, right? That's what I got on the back of my t-shirt. You're a warrior. And warriors control things. Warriors know what their destiny is, right? Warriors want to always walk through that door no matter what's there. But you should never let a thought keep you from walking through that door, right? That's easy to say. That's what I'm saying right now. But, there was a time where I couldn't be that way. I couldn't think that way. I let my thoughts take me down a rabbit hole while I was in a dark hole for weeks on end, you know, thinking something was wrong with me, or I was all screwed up deep inside my head and my thoughts where I almost took my own life because of it. And once you get to that point, anybody who's listening to me who has ever been to that point understand exactly what I'm talking about. When your mind takes you down a road or takes you down a path or takes you down a rabbit hole or whatever you want to think about, or what analogy you want to give it, if you continue those thoughts going down that path, we know where that leads. I know where it led me. It led me sitting in a dark room in my brother's house, swallowing a bunch of sleeping pills, giving up on the world, and writing a stupid note. And then laying on the couch and then waking up in the hospital because he saved my life because he got some weird premonition at work that, hey, something was wrong with me when he called the house. You know, and so I had to change my way of thinking. I had to not allow my mind to control me. And there's a lot of motivation speakers that talk about that. You have to say F you to your mind every now and then. I've done videos on that. That's easy said and done. But once you train your mind to do that, anxiety and all that other stuff are just thoughts. And if you look at it, a thought physically cannot hurt you. A thought alone. A thought can lead to actions that can hurt you, but a thought in itself can't hurt you. And it's pretty interesting. So if you've downloaded the Ear Kick app, right, the mental health app I talk about, and it's just like it sounds, Ear Kick, EARKICK. They have a video on there, and it's about anxiety. It's about an 8-minute long video, and it's probably the best video that I've ever seen. And the guy explains on how to deal with anxiety by breathing, and that you're a train conductor, right? And so you're sitting up in your tower, and these thoughts are whizzing by. You know, you decide which train's going to stop and unload. You decide which train's going to pass on through and go on about its journey and not bother you. It's your choice. It's your decision. But how many of us forget that, right? Or you've been drinking, or you're taking another illegal substance or something, and you're not thinking straight anymore, right? You can't control your thoughts then. And then you allow the thoughts to keep coming, right? My thought was, well, I'm so effed up in the head right now. Nobody wants to be around me. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with me. And that made me very frustrated and upset and mad and angry at the world and frustrated and throwing shit and drinking and carrying on. And finally I got tired of it and I didn't want to live no more. But that's not the way to think. I don't think that now. I think that frustrates me sometimes when I would go back to therapy for whatever reason, right? And that's why I quit going to seeing a therapist and I started seeing life coaches. Because every time I went to a therapist, I spent the first 6 freaking months talking about my suicide attempt. Well, hell, that was 20 some odd years ago. That's not why I'm here now. I'm here for another completely reason, but they want to spend 6 months on that reason. I don't want to talk about that anymore. It's a past of my life. It doesn't bother me. Even though they say that, you're more apt to try to commit suicide or complete suicide if you attempted it once before. I don't believe that. I think that if you got the help you needed to the first time, you know what that path looks like. And I talk about that. If you've been down that road, how many times, and you know what left and right looks like, then maybe you ought to keep going straight. Then don't turn. Because right will going to leave you that way. Left's going to leave you that way. But you're too scared to go straight. Well, I went straight. Screw it. I knew what left and right was going to happen. I didn't want to go that route anymore. But does Cliff always have a good fight? Does every day always, looking better, looking up? No. But I tell you one thing that does happen is I have more good days than bad days. And I don't allow my mind to run wild and go crazy and take me down rabbit holes that nobody wants to go down because we know what that rabbit hole looks like, And I talk about this. If you're sitting in a room and you're having those thoughts, get the hell up out of that room. Go to another room in your house. Go do something different. I don't care if it's nighttime and raining. Get up and walk outside. Do something different than what you were doing at that moment and that time to change what you're thinking about. June's PTSD month, and this is why I'm talking about this today, is, it's very important to change your mindset so you stop thinking the way that you're thinking, right? You can't do that if you stay sitting in that damn room. You can't do that if you keep drinking. You can't do that if you keep taking those pills. You got to get up and do it. Nobody else is going to do it for you. They're not going to do it for you. So you have to make a conscious decision. Am I going to continue down this road, or am I going to make the change? And until you truly and honestly with yourself 100,000% decide, I am not, and I refuse to go down this road again, you're going to continue. You're going to relapse. You're going to have this. You're going to have that. Now, I'm not saying that it's not okay to relapse. There's always bad shit that happens in your life. You just got to learn how to deal with it in a different manner, in a more positive and more effective manner. That's why I have the mental health warrior. That's why I do the mental health minutes. That's why my book's getting ready to come out, and the pre-sales are going to start in about a month. I just think it's important. I don't want anybody to go down the BS road that I went down repeatedly and often. For that year, it was hell. But that hell could have been stopped if I chose to stop it once I understood what was going on with me. But sadly, I didn't get to that point till I almost killed myself. I don't want anybody to get to that point. Don't get to that road. You know what I'm talking about. If you feel like crap's getting too much, or you're getting overwhelmed, or something's going on, pick up the damn phone and call somebody. Or text them. I don't know, post something on social media. Go to Veterans Trash Talk. There's a lot of veterans out there that's feeling the same way or something. Break what the mold that you've been doing, because it ain't working. It ain't working at all, because if it was working, you'd be in a different mindset right now. My mind got me all screwed up one day. Hell, I quit running for months. And if you guys ever listen to me, I love to run. My mind had me convinced that I had something wrong with my heart. It actually wound me up in the emergency room. There ain't nothing wrong with me. I got a resting heart rate of 59 and probably goes down to 54 lower. If I'm not thinking about it, it's not that rate right now because I'm all jazzed up about this today. But that's how powerful the mind can be. But that's the only thing I can control. I can't control other people. I can kind of control my dog, but he's still going to do whatever he wants. I can't control the fish in the fish tank. Well, I can, I guess, if I stop feeding, but then they would just die. The only thing in this life I can control is what I think and do. That's the only thing I have complete control of. And so, is Cliff Baumann going to decide to control himself today or not? Is Cliff Baumann going to decide to be depressed today? Is Cliff Baumann going to decide to be happy today? Cliff Baumann going to decide to be mad at the world all day today or whatever? It's my choice. It's your choice. It's your decision. What are you going to choose to do? You going to choose to continue to be miserable, or you going to pull your head out of your 4 point of contact and go do something else? Don't go left. Don't go right. Go straight. Go down that unfamiliar road, because that's probably where you should have been going all along. That's what we do. That's what you have to do. I'm not saying it's okay to have issues and problems. Hell, we all have them. Crap, if you have kids, it's a daily struggle with issues and problems with kids. Especially if you're a single parent or a stay-at-home dad like I am now. That was a big change. But, I can't stop doing what I'm doing. It's just like, we get down here to Missouri. And, of course, it was kind of a surprise trip. We didn't know if we could make it. We show up. And I know the next morning what my 8-year-old's going to want to eat. Well, we're at my mom's house, and she eats things completely different. Even though I'm tired, and we got to, I know my brother's retirement was coming up. His ceremony, we had to get to it, but I couldn't sit down and take a nap for an hour. I had to go to the grocery store and buy all the stuff, be prepared for tomorrow. I didn't have that time to take that break. But I knew if I didn't go and do it, that I would start tomorrow off behind the power curve. And I didn't want to do it. If I went to the store and I just took that time to get the food and get everything we needed after the event was over, then I knew I could relax and enjoy the event. And that's what I did. Yeah, I was a little tired. Yeah, whatever. I'm never as tired as I was when I was in Iraq or doing other things when I was in the Army. So I can deal with it. Hell, you can sleep anytime you want. Take a cat nap. I don't know. But, just doing little things like that, may not seem so significant at the time. But then we slept in and woke up. I had everything there. I didn't have to go run around and go to the grocery store. I was able to fix Lloyd his, he likes eating bacon and, cheese omelets. And so I was able to make his breakfast and everybody else's breakfast, and everybody was fine. I was able to get some rest and enjoy it. So just by doing that one little simple thing, but I knew in my mind, had I not done it, I would have beat myself up about it, because then I would have had to wake up early and go to the freaking store and buy crap, because, I don't like eating out that much, but usually when I come here, we eat out more than I normally do. Back home, I don't hardly eat out at all. just because I like cooking, and to me, cooking is my release for PTSD and other stuff. It's one of the things I do. And I talk about that in my mental health minutes, is just if you're ramped up in a bad way, you got a certain date that reminds you of something that bad that happened in your life. Look for something positive to do that day. I don't watch TV on 9/11. Screw it. I knew what happened that day. I was there, you know. And I don't feel guilty about that. I used to feel guilty about that. I don't anymore at all. Mm. I do get irritated when people say, "Hey, a plane didn't hit the Pentagon." Well, I'll tell you, everybody listening right now, whoever saw that conspiracy theory, I crawled over a hell of a lot of airplane parts for not a plane to hit the damn Pentagon. Okay, so any of you out there who thinks that's a firsthand account of 9/11 and what went on there, anybody who doesn't think that a plane hit the Pentagon, I'm telling you right now, a plane hit the Pentagon because I crawled over a hell of a lot of airplane parts and big airplane parts. That had blasted through the Pentagon when the plane hit it and acted like a missile and shot through there. So that gets kind of frustrating sometimes. But hey, it is what it is, right? Everybody can go out and research and find out answers for themselves if they want to believe something or not. But I just want to throw that out there real quick because it came up on Twitter the other day. But I don't get triggered by stuff anymore. I just kind of let it roll off, right? We all gotta have and learn how to have rhinoceros skin, right? You decide what's going to get absorbed in your head and not, and what you're going to allow to affect you and not. It's your choice, it's your decision, and you decide what to do. Maybe you might think I'm full of crap today. I don't know. I really don't care. But I think, really, as a mental health warrior and as somebody who's been to war and he's seen a lot of crap, and there's a lot of people out here listening to this podcast that's seen a lot more crap than I have. Thanks and hats off to you that you're still here and you're still struggling forward. I tell everybody that, any day that you wake up is a good day and you decide the moment your eyes open, how that day's going to turn out. Now, there might be events, that they could try to screw with your day because that happens, right? Man, you get up, everything's going good, and the kids are all getting ready for school and everything's going real good. And you pull out of the house and bam, there's a car wreck. Now you're stuck in traffic. Now your kids are going to be at school 10 minutes early. Now they're going to be at school 10 minutes late, but you can't control that. You can get mad. You can yell, scream, complain, get stressed out or whatever, but you're still stuck in traffic. You're still sitting there. So make the negative a positive. That's the biggest thing I had to learn when I moved to DMV is there's always traffic and you can be stuck in traffic for hours. So I just turn them into a Zen moment. I don't let it bother me anymore because it's just going to make it worse. You just got to learn how to deal with adversity a little bit better and a little bit in a different way. But the better you learn that, the more tools you have in your toolbox, and I talk about this a lot, you gotta have a lot of different tools in your toolbox because every day is different. Every day is not the same. And once you figure that out, that, hey, today I might need a 9 millimeter, but tomorrow I might need a 7/16 or a 5/8 or, a 19 millimeter. It's just something different each day. And so you have to learn how to do that. It's just like gapping the spark plugs in your lawnmower or in your car. That gap is different on the spark plugs. Gap's different based on whatever blocking engine you have in your car. And it's having that special tool, that tool there that you need to that day to fix that issue and problem. But it's always a different tool, maybe similar. But I would say that all the time, have different tools in your toolbox. You know, I found myself becoming a really bad. I'm a huge extrovert, but I kind of found myself coming being a little introvert until my life coach Rachel told me. She says, stop it. And she's the one that's, I used to go to yoga on Mondays and Fridays and then do my other workout. And I wouldn't have any adult interaction, other than talking to my wife on the phone, other than visiting with my 8-year-old, at all. A lot of times that's who I would talk to unless I talk to somebody in my family. And so I started going to yoga for just a little bit of social interaction on Wednesday. And then I started going on Tuesday and Thursdays, and now it's just kind of nice to have that break from my reality, my life, that I can go to and enjoy. And I think that's why a lot of people do that. Um, we don't have long conversations, but it's just something that I look forward to, just to go and have those short conversations because, 90% of my time I'm around my 8-year-old. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just want to do something different every now and then. But it's important. And so, as you're going through your day, think about your thoughts. Think about how many times has a stupid thought ran into your head and you let it sit there and fester over and over and over and over again, and maybe you didn't sleep that night because it was still bugging you. Then you wake up the next day, a day and a half, maybe another 36 hours afterwards, or however long you thought about it, and you realized, wow, that was really stupid. Why did I hell did I just spend 2 sleepless nights thinking about something that really didn't even mean crap, right? Okay. So if you said that to yourself, remember it and don't do it again, right? Because undoubtedly it's gonna come back up again, and you don't want that's what we're talking about. We're not going back down that same path. We're gonna go down a different path, brothers and sisters out there, not the same one. We wanna look for a different one because we know where the same one leads, and we know where that goes. We don't do that anymore. We wanna be warriors. We wanna be here for each other. We wanna help each other out. And we want to have those conversations, whether they're hard or not, with somebody if they're having issues or problems. And even more so, have that hard conversation with yourself. If you're continuing to have these issues and problems day in and day out, ask yourself the question, why? And write it down. Don't think you can remember it because obviously you're not because you keep repeating it. So write it down. Why is Cliff bombing so effed up today? Well, I don't know. I'm mad at the world because of A, B, C, and D, and write it down. And then next time you're feeling like that, go back and look at what you wrote down and then figure out what happened after you stopped feeling that way and you feel better. Or you try to do something different to change that way of thinking or that mindset. Because if you don't, you're just going to stay in that rabbit hole and keep scrolling down. You know, let's not do that. Let's stop that. Let's make, you know, PTSD Awareness Month. Let's make that a point where we're going to stop. Hey, I'm not saying don't stop thinking about the traumatic event that happened to you. That's not what I'm thinking about at all. I'm thinking about talking about making that into a more positive thing instead of such a negative thing. Yeah, I was at 9/11. Yeah, and that's had a profound effect on me, and it almost cost me my life. I talk about it on my speaking events. I'm very open and honest about that. If I'm speaking at, with the soldiers or family members or whatever during, Suicide Awareness Month. If somebody wants to go on my website and hire me to come to a speaking event, I'm very open and honest when I talk because that's the only way I know how to be. But I don't allow those thoughts to control my life no more because I made a decision to do it. And no amount of therapy was going to do it until I truly inside my heart, 100% and in my freaking mind, as small as it is, decide that I was not going to go down those paths no more. And I was going to make that change. And just when, October 3rd come around and I dove in the water and saved 3 out of those 4 fishermen, and I was so beat up over the fact I didn't save the 4th one, even though I did everything I knew humanly possible to try to save that person. But it wasn't meant to be. But I forgot in the light that 3 other people went home that day that wouldn't have had I not dove in the water. It's so easy for us to focus on negative things and not the positive things. Why is that? Why do we allow ourselves to do that? I guess because it's easy. Well, quit taking the easy road. Hell, the easy road's only got me in trouble. I don't know how many times till I figured out that I didn't want to go down that road no more. Sometimes easy ain't always the best way. Sometimes the hard's the best way. It just depends on the situation. But I think it's really important. We got the weekend coming up. We got a lot of kids getting out of school now. The PCS season's coming up for the military. Came up for us. Hello. That's a stressful time for families. And maybe you're moving your kids to a new school. They're upset. They're going to lose their friends. Maybe your summer plans had to change because of it. Maybe you're financially strapped right now with everything going on in the world and you don't have that little bit of extra money to go do things that you were able to do a couple of years ago. And you feel guilty about that. It's okay to feel guilty about that, but think about it. There's other things you can go and do that's just as much fun that maybe doesn't cost as much money. If you really think about it and put your head to it, you could figure it out. We didn't grow up with a lot of money. But my parents always figured out how to have fun. I mean, hell, even if it was going out and sleeping in the backyard, or going fishing or something. I mean, you can always find things to do and not spend a whole lot of money. It's very important. But, I want to wrap things up here. But, I want to say thanks to everybody who was tuning in. Sorry I went on a little rant today, but I just thought it was important. I was thinking about words and what the meanings that they can have, and really it just kind of, got me on a path of, we just all need to stop allowing things, thoughts to control us that shouldn't. The only thing that should control you is you. Period. Right? That's the only thing you can control in this universe is you. You control what you put in your mouth. You control what you eat and drink. You control what you say coming out of your mouth. That's 100% on you. And so, my friends out there listening today, what are you going to choose to do? Are you going to choose that same path? Or are you going to choose a different path and try to make things a little bit more positive? This has been your mental health hour with Cliff, or 30 minutes, or however long I've been paying attention. But hey, I want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. It was a great show. I hope you got something out of it. Please, put any comments below in the comments, and I'll get back to them after I get done. But losing my voice. But hey, up in the upper left-hand corner right there, you got the QR code. You can scan that for the phone to donate to Reads Across America, to ensure that, our veterans out there who have given their all, is able to have that wreath on their grave during the Christmas time, which I think is so dearly important. And what a great organization. But also be sure to go out to veteranstrashtalk.com. We have all of our great merchandise out there. I have the new season 2 t-shirt on. I have it on today. And if I turn around, I don't know if I could turn all the way around so you can see it on the back. Maybe. But you can see what it says on the back. You're a warrior, you're worthy, and you matter. Because everybody does. Everybody who listens to my podcast, you guys are all warriors and gals. Everybody's a warrior. Everybody is worthy. And every single one of you, even if you don't think you do, you matter. You matter to somebody. And I guarantee you that somebody loves you and wants you here tomorrow. And just remember, if you didn't catch my podcast today, you can always catch it on Reads Across America Radio at Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Super easy to find. Just download your favorite app, your iTunes app, your iHeart app, your Odyssey app, and just type in Wreath for Reach Across America Radio will pop up. You click the old follow button, and then you can not only listen to my podcast, but they have some really great, awesome podcasts out there to listen to. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I hope everybody has a great, wonderful weekend. Get out there and enjoy your family. Do something fun today. And just remember, words have meanings, and you can control your thoughts, and you decide whether or not you're going to have a good, great, or bad weekend. Take care. Have a great time. I'm out.